Hello everyone, and welcome to the fourth episode of Projectozoid. Thank you for being here again and listening to the podcast. I hope you get valuable information from it again. The first part was about what the project is, the second about who the project manager is, and in the third part, the project manager's big weapon, the communication, was the subject. And in this episode, the fourth part, we will talk about something that is important not only for project managers, but for everyone. It is lacking for everyone and it is very difficult to manage effectively. What could this be? Of course, in capital letters, it's time. We will look at 6 great time management tips for effective work, and then we'll talk again about one of the excellent management principles of the infamous HBO series Mob Boss, Tony Soprano. Doing is better than not doing, a principle closely related to time management. Well then, let's get into it. As project managers, it often happens that we lead several projects in parallel at the same time, and in this case, the things to do accumulate very quickly. Sometimes we have the feeling that our heads are spinning and we have to do so many things at once that we are overcome by helplessness in such a state that we do not know what to do. So we will do nothing or start with the wrong tasks and get even more overwhelmed. What helps in such cases? Well, no, not taking time off vacation, because when we come back, the unfinished task will still be there. So what we have to do is take a deep breath and the application of the following 6 time management tricks. First, prioritization. We have to be brutally honest with ourselves when we prioritize. The point is that not everything is important and not everything is needed immediately. It's just our perception. Therefore, as a first step, let's transfer everything to tomorrow that doesn't need to be solved today. After that, we rank the first 3 to 5 tasks for today in order of importance and review the relationship between the tasks. For example, if task number 5 will be accomplished only if we complete task number 2 first, then we turn task number 5 into task number 3. Easy peasy, right? Let's see the second one. The second one is the snowball method, which comes from the field of debt settlement. And its basic principle is that if someone has more debts, they should always start with the smallest repayment, and as soon as it is paid, the installment paid up to that point is used to settle the next larger debt, so repayment is faster and easier. The same can be applied when performing work tasks. After we have listed the things to do for the day, we take the easiest one and then take the next one. This way, progress is more visible and we get extra motivation to complete further tasks. Thus, at the end of the day, we can close the laptop with satisfaction. Number 3. Let's delegate. At the beginning of my career, we laughed a lot and joked about this method, because as newcomers to the profession, we have been delegated tasks by our bosses and we always said that this is the lazy manager method. What the boss doesn't want to do himself, he does it with someone else. Then, as time passed and we got higher and higher in the ranks and our projects became more and more complex and we got our first teams who also had to be managed, we realized that it is not such a simple thing. First of all, because everyone who works honestly is used to deliver a certain quality standard, so we have an idea of what the completed task should look like, and we don't initially trust others that they have done it responsibly. But if we want to be able to deal with the really important things that really only we can do, and we want our team members to develop, then we have to establish trust in advance, agree on what we work done means from a quality point of view, and we're already happy with our lives. So delegation is not only in the service of your own good, but you're also better off resource-wise, as your people will get better in their work, which will be reflected in both the quality and quantity of the work done. Number 4, use your calendar. In the corporate world, we mostly use Outlook and its built-in calendar, which fills up very quickly with meetings and teleconference invitations, so we don't have much time to work, only if we work overtime or postpone things, and none of them end well. Well, what can be done? It's easier than we think. For example, I personally block 1 hour each day in the morning and 1 in the afternoon in my calendar so that others cannot send invitations for that time, and then I know that I have 2 hours a day when I can very quickly focus only on the important tasks of that day. Number 5, email drafts. Many times during the day, we think that we should send an email to someone on a certain topic, but either you don't have time to finish the half-written email, or you are still waiting for someone else to give you a certain information that you want to include, so you have to add it to the to-do list. For example, email Marika to milk the cow. Then you either forget because you have a more important task, or you pray that it will resolve itself. But then you wake up at night terrified saying, "Oof, I forgot to send the mail." That's why it's easier to start an email and save it as a draft, review the saved emails during the day, and either finish them and send them or throw them in the trash because they're no longer relevant. The problem has solved itself. For example, the poor cow has already milked itself. Marika is not needed. Number 6, take a break. Sometimes our eyes are glued to the laptop for hours and we completely immerse ourselves in work. According to recent studies, this is not the most effective, as we are unable to devote our attention to a task for more than 1 or 1.5 to 2 hours. Therefore, the time we spend in front of the computer after 2 hours of work will not be as efficient as before. In such cases, a 15-20 minute break should be included after every 2 hours of work to go outside for fresh air, have a walk with your dog, make a quick grocery shopping, or just stretch your muscles away from the glaring monitor of your laptop. That way, you might actually solve a task that you would usually complete in 4 hours, and now you do it in 3 hours. Big win, right? Oh well, let's see. Action is better than inaction. I have already talked to you about Tony Soprano, but as he's such a complex personality as a mob boss, let's see what else can we learn from him. One of the reasons why Tony Soprano makes for a great mafia boss is that he is strategic in his decisions. Yes, sometimes his emotions get better of him, but a lot of the time you can see the gears moving in his head as he doles out advice and assignments to his crew of made men. Sometimes you have to concede in certain situations to keep everyone happy. I mean, think of all the politics Tony had to play when Johnny Sack became boss of New York, right? The idea that any action is better than inaction has been around since long before Tony Soprano muttered it in between bites of eggplant parmigiano. While it's of course important not to overreact or react without all the necessary facts or research, Tony Soprano hit the nail on the head when it comes to one of the biggest problems many businesses face: the fear of making changes. Being decisive isn't just important for when things go awry. It's important that business owners use the same haste to strengthen their team when the opportunity presents itself. As things often spiral out of control in Tony's business, he's reminded of his past management mistakes and isn't afraid to make difficult, unpopular decisions regarding his workforce in order to not repeat them. The worst thing you can do is remain idle and keep wondering while your customers' money goes elsewhere. Tony Soprano always looks at the big picture and has no problem placing different people in charge of rackets or schemes they're made suited for. This is done regardless of seniority or whether it irks his other soldiers. You should have the same mentality when managing your business. If orders are piling up and you're too afraid to make significant changes such as expanding your workforce to meet demand, your business will suffer. How many times in your life you didn't take a chance because it was too risky or you were afraid? I can say for myself that I did it for too many times. You should take whatever life offers to you and do something with it. If you decide something and you fail, you really did better than most people because you take the chance, you work on something and you fail, but you did something. In every fail, you learn many valuable lessons so you don't repeat them in the future. What you can learn from indecision? Nothing. You just don't do anything. It's better to fail than don't act at all. You should always be confident in your decision, even if it's the wrong one. Sounds good, no? So practically, my point is, should I eat a slice of pizza or not eat a slice of pizza? You know what? Just do it. Because you want it and you'll thank yourself while you're enjoying bite by bite. Imagine not taking it and staying hungry. Won't you hate yourself? There you go. Well, lessons learned. Tony Soprano made decisions quickly and stuck to them. He thought things out, looked at the pros and cons of some of his potential decisions. When there was a problem with a crew member, for example, Tony met the problem head on. If you were to ask employees within a company what annoys them the most about their bosses, inevitably the answer is indecision. No one likes to wait in limbo before a decision is reached. There you go. This was the 4th episode of Projectozoid Podcast. I hope you have enjoyed it and you can get valuable information out of this. If you want to talk to me about any of the subjects, contact me on the Facebook page of Projectozoid Podcast or on joel.garfalvi@gmail.com, and don't hesitate to propose topics to discuss. Otherwise, like my Facebook page, go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Buzzsprout, Alexa Music, actually that's Amazon Music. So, you can find me wherever. Just hit me up and give me feedback about the content of the podcast. My name is Joel Garfalvi and I was your host today. Thank you for listening and have a nice one. Bye bye.